Alright, so this is my boat's centerboard control line. And so it has a horn cleat in the forward part of the cockpit. And the problem I've had with this is that, you know, I guess I'm just not very fast at tying, securing horn cleats. So, you know, it's kind of difficult to adjust it when you're sailing, especially, you know, if it's heavy wind and you're really trying to focus and do stuff and maintain the balance of the boat and blah, blah, blah. I would much prefer to just be able to kind of yank on the line and then cleat it down. And so I bought this from Harken. So this is a cam cleat. And so my plan is to take this off and then fill in the holes with some marine tex, you know, sand it down, and then re-drill some new holes and install this cam cleat hardware. Alright, so here's the back side of the horn cleat for the centerboard control line. So I'm going to pop those covers off, take the bolts out, take the washers out, fill that in with marine tex, and then just because, you know, I hear this flex once in a while when I'm pulling on the horn cleat, I'm actually going to add this little piece of aluminum that I had left over from the greenhouse, drill some holes in that, and then use that as a backing plate just to kind of spread out that force. And then also what I plan to do is go ahead and seal it to the wall here of the cockpit. So I'm hoping that'll keep everything nice and tight. Alright, so remove the horn cleat, and that's where it was. And honestly, the holes are a lot smaller than I thought they'd be. So the fiberglass is in great shape. It'll be very easy to patch those holes, and I can move on. Okay, so right now I'm just cleaning up around the old holes with some new finish. I like using new finish on the boat. And it takes stains and scratches and scuffs out of the fiberglass pretty well. Alright, that looks pretty good. So for the mounting location, the old horn cleat was mounted right here at about a 45-degree angle. And for the new cam cleat, I don't want it too low because then there's too severe of an angle down to the opening here. And I don't want it too high because then it's kind of a tripping hazard and you know, a little toe cruncher. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bolts even with the current top hole. So it's going to be right there. And I think that's, you know, still out of the way enough, but you know, also a good angle where the line will hold secure. So that's the plan. Okay, so I put a little mark here to mark the middle, and then Harken provides this great little template which goes that way. So, get my Sharpie. So before I can mount the centerboard line cam cleat, I've got to braid the fiberglass where the sealant's going to go to make sure that it has good adherence to the fiberglass. So I've used some masking tape to mask off that area and remove the cleat. And now I'm just going to use this, this is a pretty fine grit sanding block, and I'm going to use that to just rough up this area. Alright, so now this is a little roughed up, and next I'll clean it with some acetone, and then we'll be able to seal it to the front of the cockpit. Okay, so I've got my 2 new holes, and now I'm going to go ahead and fill in the holes that I don't need anymore, the original holes, with some Marine Tex. Alright, so the Marine Tex epoxy is cured overnight and is dry, and as you can see there's a little bit of excess that dripped out of the holes, so I'm going to go ahead and sand that down. The old holes have been filled and sanded. The next step is to wipe them down with acetone in preparation for the 3M 4200 sealant that I'm going to use to mount the new cam cleat. Alright, so this is the finished backing plate with the epoxy all nice and dry, and I'm ready to go ahead and put on the cam cleat. I'm going to wipe the back of this with some acetone for prep. Alright, and I've already got the bolts in there, and I've got the washers and the nuts waiting on the other side. So I just got to put on the 4200. Alright, so I've got my 4200 applied, and see how this goes, see how much of this squishes out. I would say just the right amount. Alright, so now I'm going to hold the bolt and then tighten down the nut on the other side. And the reason I'm holding the bolt is so I don't twist out all that epoxy that I just got in there. Alright, so here's the mounted cam cleat, and you can see that all the excess 4200 squeezed out. I wasn't sure how much to put in there. I think if I try to wipe it off, that it's just going to smear all over the place and make a mess. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I don't think it's too bad, and it certainly is a good seal. Alright, so here's the inside of the cam cleat, and yeah, certainly it's secure, and I think that looks pretty good too. To finish up my cam cleat installation, I'm going to go ahead and cut these bolts, and that's so that I can put the nut covers that originally came with the horn cleat that was here, so that I can put those on and dress it up a little bit. Now, if this was something that was mounted vertically with the bolts like coming through the deck, like on a chain plate or a stanchion, then I would probably use bolt cutters to cut these, just to avoid the excess vibration of, you know, using a saw, so that you don't break any of the seal and then have water, you know, coming down the bolts into the broken part of the seal. But in this case, I mean, where this cam cleat is mounted, and since it's a horizontal installation, I'm really not worried about water intrusion too much. Now, I could back these machine screws out of the holes now that everything has cured, but again, that would break, you know, whatever sealant is around the machine screws themselves. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to use the old-fashioned hacksaw method. I have a jigsaw, but the guard around it is too wide, and so I won't be able to get close enough. So the only thing that I can really use is this manual hacksaw. Alright, so there you go, cam cleat project complete, and very happy with the result. I think it looks great.